Every action that breaks your fast. Action 1. Intimacy during fasting hours. Sexual intercourse during the daytime of fasting is the most serious violation of the fast. It directly contradicts the explicit command to abstain from intimate relations from dawn until sunset. This act not only invalidates the fast immediately, but also carries a heavy expiation in addition to making up for the missed day. Classical rulings prescribe freeing a slave, fasting 2 consecutive months, or feeding 60 poor people if the earlier options are not possible. The severity lies in consciously overriding one of the clearest boundaries of the fast. Fasting is meant to train mastery over the strongest human impulses, and intercourse represents a deliberate surrender to desire at a time specifically designated for restraint. According to Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim 1936, a man came to the Prophet saying he had intercourse with his wife while fasting. The Prophet required expiation kafara, including freeing a slave or fasting 2 consecutive months if unable. This shows it is the most severe violation of the fast. Action 2. Ejaculation resulting from voluntary stimulation. Ejaculation that occurs while a person is awake due to deliberate arousal also breaks the fast. This includes physical stimulation, intentional touching, or deliberately maintaining sexual thoughts for gratification. Although less severe than intercourse because it does not carry the same expiation, it still invalidates the fast because sexual release has occurred intentionally. However, ejaculation during sleep, commonly known as a wet dream, does not break the fast. Sleep removes conscious choice, and actions outside a person's control are not held against them. After purification, the fast simply continues. Action 3. Menstruation or postnatal bleeding. If menstruation or postnatal bleeding begins at any point during the fasting day, the fast ends immediately, even if sunset is only minutes away. This is not considered a sin or a failure. It is a natural biological process governed by specific rulings. The individual stops fasting for the duration of the bleeding and makes up the missed days later. Once the bleeding has ended and purification is complete, fasting proceeds normally. The key point is that validity is tied to physical state, not intention or effort. Action 4. Anything that nourishes the body like food or drink. Substances that provide nourishment to the body in place of eating also invalidate the fast, even if they do not enter through the mouth. Intravenous nutrition such as glucose drips, feeding solutions, or hydration fluids supply energy and sustenance directly into the bloodstream. Because fasting is defined by abstaining from nourishment, these forms are treated the same as eating or drinking. By contrast, injections that do not nourish the body, such as vaccines, insulin, antibiotics, pain relief shots, or dental anesthesia, do not break the fast because they do not serve as food or hydration. Surah Al-Baqarah verse 187. Eat and drink until the white thread of dawn becomes distinct from the black thread of night. Then complete the fast until sunset. Action 5. Intentionally induced vomiting. Forcing oneself to vomit breaks the fast. This includes deliberately triggering vomiting through physical means or any intentional action designed to expel stomach contents. The fast is invalidated because the act is voluntary and disrupts the body in a way inconsistent with the discipline of fasting. However, vomiting that occurs involuntarily due to illness, nausea, or sudden sickness does not break the fast. If the body forces it without intention, the fast remains valid. Action 6. Cupping or major blood removal that significantly weakens the body. Cupping therapy, which removes blood for treatment purposes, is considered by many scholars to break the fast because it can substantially weaken the person. Fasting already places physical strain on the body, and removing a large amount of blood can intensify that weakness. Minor blood loss, such as from small cuts, nosebleeds, dental work, or routine lab tests, does not invalidate the fast because it does not meaningfully affect strength. Donating a large volume of blood may have a similar weakening effect to cupping. If unavoidable during fasting hours, the day may need to be made up later. Action 7. Actions that corrupt the fast without breaking it. A fast can remain technically valid while losing much of its value. Lying, backbiting, insults, arguments, consuming inappropriate content, or persisting in sinful behavior contradict the goal of fasting, which is self-restraint and spiritual refinement. The stomach may be empty, but if the tongue, eyes and behavior remain undisciplined, the transformative purpose of fasting is undermined. Fasting is meant to weaken harmful impulses and strengthen conscious control over one's actions and character. Action 8. Eating or drinking. The obvious one. And of course, intentionally eating or drinking during the fasting hours breaks the fast. From true dawn until sunset, nothing should be swallowed on purpose. Not food, not water, not even a small sip. However, if someone forgets they are fasting and eats or drinks absent-mindedly, the fast still counts as long as they stop immediately when they remember. The key factor is intention, not the amount consumed. The Prophet said, "Whoever forgets while fasting and eats or drinks, let him complete his fast, for it was Allah who fed him and gave him drink." Final reminder: protect the fast, not just its validity. Knowing what breaks the fast protects the outer form of fasting, but the real objective is inner transformation. A person can avoid every invalidator and still miss the deeper benefit if the day is filled with distraction, anger, or heedlessness. Fasting is meant to weaken the dominance of physical desires and strengthen awareness, patience, and discipline. Hunger and thirst are tools, not the goal. The goal is to train the self to obey even when no one else is watching. Every fasting day is limited and irreplaceable. Once it passes, it cannot be relived, only remembered or regretted. Treat each day as a complete unit of worship that begins at dawn and ends at sunset, requiring protection throughout. Guard the fast not only from physical violations, but from anything that empties it of meaning. If you found this video informative, watch the next video on every mysterious change that happens during Ramadan.